this makes sense. My grandfather was a Mason. He attended a Baptist church, and I know you said you were Irish descent. Yeah, people should be supporting the Masons. Everything the Masons stood for, which was what our Constitution stands for, I'm going to show in a minute, is what the Catholic Church was against. But this is what so especially when it comes to Ireland, Scotland, and Britain, I would say, they already had the Jesus's word come through. They already knew it. But what the Roman Catholic Church did, because they were the Roman Empire, they just changed their form into the church, is they were a dominating force. And so they came in, and then they told Ireland, they told the Scots, they told everybody, no, that's paganism. Your Celtic Christianity, the way you're doing it, is pagan. Yet they already knew, because they already had some of those apostles come through there. And then the Roman Catholic Church came in, and then because of their dominating force, and, them looking like Pharisees, convinced people. And Ireland, I think, really grabbed hold of it the most. Them and France. And yet, if you look at the history, especially that's now come to the surface with Ireland, them and France are although we don't have all the numbers yet, because all the numbers for America aren't in yet either. But Ireland and France, it's already been shown that the massive epidemic of the child abuse and sexually abusing children is massive in those countries. And they grabbed a hold of that Catholic Church right away. So I'm not blaming them, because they're a dominating force. They don't stop. And so they've always been out for the Masons. They have. They going way back. The Masons recognize, no, that what they're doing is wrong, just like the Pilgrims recognized it. So the Masons are actually the group. If there's certain sects of Masons that are wicked, I would say the Catholic Church created it. The Catholic Church is known for getting their dogs out there, and just they've done this all through their history. It's what the Roman Empire does. And again, the Roman Empire are the people that judged Jesus, an innocent man, and nailed him to a cross. Now, granted, nobody stood up for him either, but ultimately that was the Roman Empire. The Roman Catholic Church being the Roman Empire, that's why the first church would never be where they say it is. But all their teachings are wrong. But this is how much the Roman Catholic Church stands against our Constitution. Released in the ascent of the industrial age, Marxism in the aftermath of September 20th, 1870, capture of Rome by the Kingdom of Italy military forces from the Papal States. Humanum Genus is principally a condemnation of Freemasonry. It states that the late 19th century was a dangerous era for the Roman Catholic Church, largely due to numerous concepts and practices it attributes to Freemasonry, namely naturalism, popular sovereignty, and the separation of church and state. And so everything the Catholic Church hated the Masons for is the very thing this country was founded on. This is what popular sovereignty means. Popular sovereignty is the principle that the leaders of a state and its government are created and sustained by the consent of its people, who are the source of all political legitimacy. Popular sovereignty, being a principle, does not imply any particular political implementation. Ben Franklin expressed the concept when he wrote that in free governments, the rulers are the servants, and the people, their superiors and sovereigns. And that's true. I mean, that's how it's supposed to be. But the Catholic Church was against that, which is why they were against the Masons. So the very thing this country was founded on, the Masons are responsible for. And yet they have been being the ones still to this day that are being persecuted as something wicked. No, they are the reason this country was founded on these principles. And the Catholic Church, just like the dominating force it is, wanted to come into America like it did all through Scotland, Ireland, everywhere else in the world, and get a hold of America. That's why, in the beginning, the Freemasons didn't. There's many times in the Freemasons' history they weren't secret. But what they were secret about was who they let in. They were very, very, very sensitive about that. Obviously, because the Catholic Church would come in. And the Catholic Church has been doing that forever. The Roman Empire, infiltrating groups. Even with the Knights Templar, they did it. I'm going to do a different video about the Knights Templar, but they kind of go hand in hand, like with the Scottish Rite. So, these were the people that recognized, no, the Roman Catholic Church is leading people astray. I mean, what a disgrace for the Roman Catholic Church to come into this country where these men who were Masons founded it on these great principles, that Jesus would stand by, and yet then turn around and think that the Roman Catholic Church has a right to dominate it, and yet go after the Masons. No, people should respect the Masons. And just a little bit more here about what the Catholic Church condemned the Masons for. Condemned certain practices of the Freemasons, including religious indifference. That's everything against our Constitution. The promotion of public education that denied the Church's role, and where the education of youth shall be exclusively in the hands of laymen. The approval of the notion that the people are the only source of sovereignty, and that those who rule have no authority but by the commission and concession of the people. So that's why the Masons founded America. That's why so the Roman Catholic Church stands completely against the Constitution. And there's nothing you can do about it. It's not like anybody can take them down. It's just that people need to realize and leave that church. That's the only way they'll go under. Because they've been nothing but a dominating force in the world. They're about, that's why they forbid. They tell their parishioners, no, if you go join Freemasonry, you're sinning. And yet the Freemasons have had to deal with this, forever. And yet they were always on the right side of Jesus. Even though their group doesn't necessarily say this is the path you have to go. I think that they know, this is my belief anyway, I take this a lot from like Alcoholics Anonymous. Nobody tells you what to worship. It doesn't even tell you to worship anything. But you do have to get to a place, even if you're an atheist, that there's something of a higher power than you. But it doesn't have to be a denomination. And what the founders knew was that if somebody just does the steps, and the steps were created from the Bible, but that they would get there, if that makes sense. You didn't have to be in a certain denomination. You would get there. Jesus would get you there. And that's what the Freemasons, I think, even though I don't know anything about their teachings, really, it seems like they're more about man charting their own course and trying to help man go down that road. But the Roman Catholic Church stands against all that. So then you stand against what our founding is about. And yet you want to have a say in, no, this has got to stop. People need to have respect. If you have a family member that's been in your bloodline or somebody you know that's been a Mason, you should thank them. Because they are the reason that America's freedoms and our Constitution was written the way that it was. They were truly walking the path.